Hey, what's up everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to Get Hit with the Truth. So today we are doing a new segment. This is the Fighter of the Month, True Boxing's Fighters of the Month. We're going to go to January's Fight of the Month. I'm going to try to do that at the end of every month going forward. Just to give you kind of a look back and who's deserving of the award. And I'm going to go with a top 5 unless there's a lot of fights. Excuse me. Every month should at least provide a top 5. So before we get into that, guys, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. Excuse me. I really do appreciate any and all support I can get. Just trying to build everything up with my channel. And you know, if you got something negative to say or want to give me a thumbs down, go ahead and do that too. I want full transparency. So anyways, the Fighter of the Month. So we're gonna go with the top 5 fighters. Number 5 for me, kind of by default, I'm going with Jaron Boots Ennis. And I say a default only because the other guy, it wasn't a great performance because the other guy didn't really seem keen to fighting. His name was Kadan something. He's a Russian fighter. But Boots went out there on the Davis and Garcia undercard and dominated this guy and became the IBF interim champion. So it was an important win, you know, for him, and it pushed him forward towards, you know, something bigger. And you know, hopefully that comes for him soon. But it, you know, it was he had to grind it out. You know, while the guy was just kind of running away the entire fight, didn't seem too keen on fighting, but he got a 12-round decision, became the IBF interim champion. So Jaron Boots Ennis is my number 5 fighter for Fighter of the Month. Number 4 goes to Anthony Yarde, and for his TKO loss to Artur Beterbiev on January 28th on ESPN. You know, the reason that Yarde made this list, made the top 5, one, there wasn't a lot to choose from. But, you know, in terms of fights, major fights in January, which, you know, you grow accustomed to, January is not a huge fight month every year. NFL playoffs has a lot to do with that, you know, different things like that. But this fight was Anthony Yarde outperformed what people thought he was going to do. And, you know, it's funny, but not myself. I said don't be surprised if Yarde pulls off the upset or if he's in this fight. And he was in the fight so much that he was winning the fight on the scorecards at the time of the stoppage in the 8th round. But Anthony Yarde fought his ass off. He fought hard. He really pushed Artur Beterbiev, who's considered to be one of the pound-for-pound best fighters, unified champion. He pushed him to the limit. I think that was the first time I saw Beterbiev getting beaten on points since Alexander Volcik did it, and those are the only 2 guys that were beating Beterbiev on points when he stopped both of them. So you could argue that this was the 2nd toughest fight of Beterbiev's career, or the 1st, because Yarde, Volcik was winning on points, but I don't think he ever hurt Beterbiev. I think Anthony Yarde stunned Beterbiev a couple times, but not to the point where it had a lasting effect to where, you know, he was going down or he staggered or anything. But he definitely caught him with punches that kind of straightened Beterbiev up and made Beterbiev back up after he took those shots. So Anthony Yarde, tremendous performance in defeat, and he's my number 4 Fighter of the Month for January. Number 3, and it's all winners from here, goes to undefeated WBA secondary lightweight champion Gervonta Tank Davis for his, I think it was 8th round TKO victory over Hector Luis Garcia on January 7th, I believe, as they competed in a Showtime pay-per-view main event. You know, this was basically a prelude fight for Tank before an agreed-upon showdown with Ryan Garcia that's taking place in April. So he had to look good, but he decided to fight a boxing southpaw, a guy who's a pure boxer, and Hector Luis Garcia, and undefeated. Yes, he was a junior lightweight coming up to fight, but he was an undefeated champion. and he had really proven himself in 2021 or 2022 and really had a lot going for him. You know, he had a lot of confidence coming into the fight and definitely felt like he could win. So, heading into this one, it was going to be interesting to see what was going to happen, and Tank just broke him down. It wasn't an easy win. I don't want to call it easy, but he just methodically broke down Hector Luis Garcia and stopped him in the 8th or 9th round. A good performance ahead of the biggest fight of his career against Ryan Garcia in April. So Tank Davis, number 3 for January Fighter of the Month. Number 2 goes to the undefeated unified light heavyweight champion at 175 pounds, Artur Beterbiev, for his 8th round TKO victory over Anthony Yarde on January 28th on ESPN, as he would retain his 3 light heavyweight titles at 175 pounds. This fight, you know, again, Beterbiev came in a heavy favorite. There weren't a lot of people that were giving the mandatory challenger Anthony Yarde a shot. I personally did. I thought he was going to definitely compete in this fight, and he did. And Beterbiev, even though he was down on the cards and Anthony Yarde was fighting a good fight, he just continued to grind and wear down Anthony Yarde and break him down. And Beterbiev, like he's done in every fight, finished his opponent. No matter how tough it was, he finished him and retained his light heavyweight championship, his unified light heavyweight championship. So a good performance, even though it was a tougher fight than people were expecting. He still went in there, got the victory, and retained his title. He's my number 2 Fighter of the Month for January. But my January 2023 Fighter of the Month goes to former world champion Liam Smith for his 4th round TKO upset victory over Chris Eubank Jr. as they fought, I believe it was on ESPN or DAZN. I can't remember which one it was. But when they fought on January 21st, heading into this one, Chris Eubank, you know, it was a good, you know, build up for the fight. But this was basically, you know, Chris Eubank came in a solid favorite. I thought he was going to win the fight. But I did think Liam Smith was a live underdog. He's a veteran, former champ. But the one thing that we'd grown accustomed to with Eubank is that he's got a good chin. And Liam Smith went in there and you know, it was a good competitive fight through 3 rounds, but then he just caught him cold in that 4th round and jumped on him and didn't let him off the hook. And it was an upset 4th round TKO victory. Very solid, good knockout win. And, you know, it really elevated Liam Smith in his debut at middleweight. It elevated him to the top of the middleweight, you know, the division, where he's actually the mandatory challenger for Janibek Alimkhanuly, Kazakh style right now. You know, so this was a big victory for Liam Smith, the biggest of his career, in my opinion. And, you know, I just thought it was the best victory of the month because, you know, I always say surprising wins, even if they're not upsets, but like you do something that nobody's expecting you to do. I think those kind of elevate. It also depends on who you fight, what's on the line. Chris Eubank was a top middleweight contender. He's a former world title challenger. He's a top middleweight contender. And Liam Smith moving up to that weight class and, you know, being able to knock out a guy with a usually good chin. Like if Liam Smith would have grinded out a decision, I wouldn't have been surprised. But he went out there and not only knocked out Chris Eubank, but he did it in the 4th round against a guy who usually packs a good chin. Caught him with a good clean punch, hurt him badly, and didn't let him off the hook. Liam Smith is my January 2023 Fighter of the Month. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.